nice and tidy edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear on the YouTube settings right there on the video and adjust the playback speed, make me sound like a chipmunk, and it'll go a lot faster. You can also look and see if there's timestamps for this project in the description, and if you're on a desktop, you can hover over the time bar at the bottom of the screen and see if it's chunked up into chapters, and then that way you can go directly to the step you're looking for. And lastly, you can also tap on the screen on the right hand side of the video picture or on the left hand side to make the video jump ahead, forward or backward if you're on a mobile device. And you can adjust that amount in your settings so you can have complete control over how much it jumps. So if you are on a desktop, you can use the fast forward or the rewind, and that will make it go faster as well. You can also enable subtitles, and the little CC on the screen will enable closed captioning. That way, if I am a little bit harder to understand with that double playback speed, the subtitles might help you out. All right, well, I know that it's not a nice little edited video, but if you sew with me, we'll get there together and it'll be lots of fun. And now for the live stream. Happy sewing! Hey! I was going to start with the full screen so you could see the tuck top because it's on the form, but then I was like, is that weird? But now it looks really weird that there's nothing here, huh? Here, let me do the full screen. I have to move the camera then. There we go. Just so you can see where we're at. I'm really excited about this. I think it's coming along really nice. How are you all? Happy Saturday, or Soderday, as Ray says. Hi, Chantel. Hi, Shem. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Blair. Hey, Blue Magilla. Hey, Monica. Hello, Ray. I like that Ray's making an appearance early on so we don't send out the missing child squad after her, you know. You guys ready for the weekend? What are you guys sewing? And just so I don't forget to tell you, the new Cashmerette Club pattern is out. This is it right here. It's got a little twist at the bottom. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I did do their how-to video and it's on my channel. And there is lots of good tips for sewing knits on there. It's a really quick make. I really enjoyed it. I made 2 of them. So I have a little smudge on my glasses again. Oh my gosh, I have like a ton of smudges. I don't really know how I do that, but I'm not surprised, honestly. I'm such a klutz. You love that, and that squad shows up. Next time, have them do the dishes and, you know, sweep the porch off too. All right, so here was where we're at. So we did the back. So you'll notice that one of the decisions I made on this remake, since I'm like copying something I owned before, is the tucks on the back are ending higher than the front. They're a little lower. You can tell there's a lot of swing in this too. There's a lot right here. I'm kind of interested to see how this will be on me because look at how much it looks like in the front. But the dress form is like really, really good as far as like a replication of me. But I can tell like the posture is just slightly different and everything, and she's a little smaller than me. Yeah, so I'm curious. Usually when I see things like this, they just aren't there when I try it on. So hopefully that's the case, you know, for sure. Peacoat, thread tracing, going to sew in the darts, and I realize I don't have anything that works for a thread mat. Oh, bummer. Hey, Terry, how's it going? Things are good. Hey, Libby, making a fun shirt. Your first day sewing in 10 days are being set. Oh, yeah, that's what you said. You were sick. I'm sorry to hear that. 10 days. Dang. That's a long time. Yeah. All right, well, let's take it off the form here. We're gonna put the neckband on and the sleeves. Is that all we have? And then we're gonna go have pizza together, right? Let's see. Oh, that is, sorry, let me burn your eyeballs there. Speaking of bright though, when I was eating breakfast today, Michael and I were sitting there at the table eating breakfast. And let's see, that's a little better. What do you think of that? That's pretty good, huh? And a new hummingbird showed up. It was so pretty. On the mend, nice. Hi, Malin, how's it going? Was it the panini? Oh, my camera, sorry. Boop. There we go. So thanks to Patrick for reminding me about Gold Star Tool. I forget about them all the time. He told me that they have the oak tag, the manila. You guys, some of you call it oak tag. I call it manila, the pattern paper. $60 a roll. That is a really good price. And the shipping is $1. You cannot beat this. I have never seen this in my 35 years of ordering pattern paper. Because I usually would spend $65 for the roll and $55 to $60 for shipping. So it would double the price. Hey Candace, I drafted it a little like tuck top. Let's see, it's in a little schlumpy pile here. And we're finishing it up today. It's in linen, so it's been a little bit like easy and hard to wrangle, but it's got the tucks down the center front. It's gonna get some sleeves. They release here at the bottom. And on the back here, same thing. They release a little higher. So that's it. Oh, man. I keep sleeping on my arm funny. My bed is doing this weird thing. So the mattress is slowly sliding off of the frame. And it's a sleep number bed. So you can't really like just push it back on. So this is actually really funny. That part's not funny. That's because the crack between our bed, because we have two twins next to each other. So a king. So it's two twins, which is great because you can control the bed separately, right? And this is really great because, yeah, it's really great. If one of you has like an issue body-wise, I highly recommend this bed because you can customize it and just wait for a sale. And it's pretty affordable when you do that compared to other mattress things in that category. Anyway, mine lately, between the animals on the bed and me and my mattress sliding, I'm literally ending up with this much bed right now. And so this morning, I was rolling over and my shoulder's been kind of funny because it's getting really soft and squishy on the end because it's hanging off of the mattress, the mattress thingy, the holder, the box springs, the table, the bed frame, all right? Well, we have a pug, we have a cat, a very old cat who sleeps on a little polar fleece blanket between our pillows. And then below that, it's a pug, and then Molly, our like Shiba looking dog, right? Well, Loki, the little pug, has a little bed on the bed because it keeps him contained because otherwise he's obnoxious, right? I did not want my pets to sleep on the bed. I don't mind cats, but I did not ever want dogs. I tried when I got them to break them of those. It was impossible. I gave up, and it's fine, whatever. This morning, though, Loki's little bed was empty, and I kept thinking he was in that little bed because he was making these little sighs. You know, I'd put the pillow on top of him. I'd put my arm over. He loves the pillow on him. And then I looked, I saw this weird thing poking up from the middle of the bed. I was like, what is that? It was a dog leg. Look, the crack between our mattresses is so big. Loki had slipped down between the beds sideways. He was fully passed out. And all I could see was this little pug leg, which is like a little chicken leg sticking out there. And I was like, oh, buddy. and his bed was on top of him. And he was fully satisfied. So I like scooped him out, put him in his little bed. I had to put something underneath him so that the bed didn't slip down there. Like I've had a blanket like twisted up and shoved down the crack. I have a pillow at the top. It's like pulling away at an angle. Poor guy. It was so funny that I was like, "Are you awake?" to Michael, and he was like, "Huh? Yeah." I was like, "Look." we were just like 6:30 in the morning laughing. Loki's totally out, and all I see is just chicken legs sticking out from underneath his bed. Oh, God. So I was like, "Today we're fixing this." He's like, "Yeah, I think so." I was like, "Yeah, this is ridiculous." When you have a pug-sized gap, those things are like little barrels. Anyway, oh, poor guy. This is kind of zoomed in. Do we want it this zoomed in? Because I feel like it's kind of zoomed in. Let's see here. Oops, this one. I'm going to just pull it out a little bit. If we have a little more. Because we're going to do the neckband and the sleeves. So it's a pug-sized gap. That's how we measure gaps now. How many pugs can you fit in a gap? I mean, he's like a loaf of bread, a big loaf of bread, you know? And we don't have like a really big pug. Like he's pretty small as pugs go. They all look like they're chunky even when they're not. And he's not chunky, but they are still a solid creature, you know? Like they're the weirdest creature. Truly weird. So weird, you know? Okay, I love how I keep seeing like little flaws, not flaws, maybe this is the only one I'm seeing the same one over and over. Can you see it? This little gray stripe. It looks nothing on camera. Some of those things, it's like a thread you can pull out. I'm just gonna leave it, I'm not gonna toy with it. All right, let's do the side seams. I'm just doing some French seams on the sides, and then we'll add the neckband and the sleeves, hems. Gosh, you know, we could have time to do buttons and buttonholes live on camera. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Patrick. I don't know if you heard me thank you. I thanked you earlier, Patrick, for that gold star tip. That was great. That is like the best price I have ever seen on that paper. Yeah, I am not surprised, Anna. I have never been a fan of those dogs. So I get it. I came to have Loki because my friend, her brother-in-law was visiting, and he had these 2 puppies, and one Loki had some sort of injury to his eye from his sister, and it hadn't been treated, and they were just looking a little like neglected, and so she was like, "I'm taking these dogs for me." So she took them. And, you know, got him treated and everything and all that. And he wasn't fixed. He was too young for that. And she kept sending me pictures. Like, I had no idea she had done this. And she was like, "Have I showed you the madness going on at my house?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And so she sends, like, a video of these 2 pugs. I was like, what the heck? This is a person who had like 7 chihuahuas at one time, right? She didn't have that many at that time, but I was like, "How are you taking this on?" She had a cat, like a kitten, and she's like, "I just had to take these dogs. They needed some like attention." And occasionally she would send me these little videos, and I just started like, their personalities are unmatched. When she was looking for a home, she never asked me. I just said, "So we didn't need a dog at all." I just fell in love with the personality. Oh, yeah, that's cool. You got your DDL from them? That's great. I know, 99 cents. That's what I was telling them. I was like, I've always paid $55 to $60 to ship that roll, Patrick. I'm not kidding. Would I turn my iron on? Yeah, I did turn it on. Okay. Yeah. So I know how people feel about pugs, but I'm just here to tell you, get to know one first before you make your decision based on looks. You do get used to the snortles and the sinus sounds. They actually get very like comforting and endearing. So yeah, exactly. They are very, 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 it's like having a permanent toddler. I used to have a friend that said that. Oh, permanent toddler. And she was right. Permanent toddler. No. Are you serious, Patrick? How much was, which Juki did you get? Did you get a 8700-7? Like the one with electronics? Because I want to know how much you spent on that. That is incredible. I can't remember if it was them who started to like comment on my Instagram posts and were saying nice things. We may need to check out more of what they do, because I would love to promote someone who does that. Not that I'm like, I don't really feel like companies owe us free shipping, but geez, that's incredibly generous. Okay, so the 8700. We are the best enablers. So true, Ray. I looked everywhere for my little lint roller to get rid of this linen, but I must have accidentally taken it home. I can't think of where it's at. Maybe it's in my shipping stuff. It really could be in my shipping stuff. Let me see how the lighting's not too bad. The Mitchells versus the machine. It's a pug that saves the day. Last night, Ray, you'll like this. So some of you know that this cat showed up on our property last year. He was a kitten, and he was stuck under some blackberry. I live very, very rurally, in case you don't know, too. Like very, very rurally. There are houses around me, but 5 acres away, you know. And I do not know where this cat came from. Nobody posted anything about him. He's fixed, so maybe he was dumped. But he was behind our house, the weirdest place, behind our house, stuck under some blackberry. And my daughter was visiting, and we were like, what the heck? He had the loudest meow, so I took a rake handle, stuck it under the blackberry, lifted up the blackberry, and he crawled right out. And then he started coming around. We were feeding him. Super cute, sweet, and he would always like flop over on the ground and like become limp as a noodle, so we named him Noodle. Well, he has become Loki's like best friend and playmate. Like they wrestle, and Noodle has his number. Like he will lie in wait and pounce on him and chase him around. They have the greatest time. Well, last night I was doing the dishes after dinner, and Michael let Noodle in, because Noodle is an anti-flapper. He will not use the flap in the like cat flap if the flap is down. So we call him an anti-flapper. And it's really annoying because he asks to come in and out all the time. Noodle. And so for some reason, Loki didn't notice Noodle got let into the house when I was washing the dishes. I think he was just focused on me washing dishes because they always hope I'm going to give him something. And so all of a sudden, Loki caught a sniff of like Noodle was here, and he searched all over the house, and he was like yipping and excited. He was so excited Noodle was home, but he could not find him anywhere because Noodle went upstairs to eat out of my other cat's bowl, my old cat. And Noodle, he finally figured out Noodle was upstairs, and Noodle was sitting at the top of the stairs, and Loki went up and just sat next to him. They were sniffing each other. It was really cute. So, oh, it needed assembly? Wait. I had to self-assemble, but you can do pre-assemble for $250 extra. Assembly is not hard on a machine without electronics, by the way. Very, very simple. You set the machine in there. There's these little, this thing right here is a hinge, and you lift it up. You set the machine on like a post, and then you tilt it down, and it sets in there. And at the same time, you put the belt on. Fill up the thing with oil. That's about it, right? Right, Patrick? The one with electronics is a little more involved. If you've never used one or never had one, I would say pay for the assembly, just so you don't worry about it. $2,000 for the 8700-7. Is that what you said, Aisha? Where's that comment? Is the one with electronics is $2,000? I actually do think that's a pretty good price because I've heard sewing machines have gone way up. I paid $1,800 for mine, so that's only $200 more. For $1 shipping, that's I feel like a perfect deal. For a brand new machine, yes. Took you a full day to put together. Okay, so maybe there was more than I realized. Oh, because the table wasn't assembled either. It was like flat packed. Got it. Okay, sorry. Yeah. The table was the hard part. Yeah, I've never had to put a table together. The table's very heavy. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, Anna. It depends on what kind of machine you're doing. I had to, my mechanic was coming once to do a service, and we really needed him on one of the machines. And he didn't show up, and I got nervous. And so I called, and they were like, oh, he had a heart attack, and he can't come. And he was fine. He ended up being fine. He's came here last year. I'm so worried he's going to retire. I know he's going to. If he retires and there's no mechanic, I'm going to retire sew and become a mechanic, because everyone needs a sewing machine mechanic. But I had to take one of the machines that had electronics to them. That was the only way I could have a hope of getting it fixed. And I was pretty nervous taking apart all the stuff back there. It ended up being totally fine. I brought it in there, brought it back, got it hooked up successfully, no problem at all. Just took a photo of where things went. They didn't fix the machine, unfortunately. I had to wait for the mechanic, but yeah, it's 150 pounds. Yeah, the motor is what makes it really heavy too. Oh yeah, they're very heavy, Blue Magella. There's no getting around that. Yeah, +2 motor is separate. Okay. Yeah, there is, if you have a few of them, you can get this cool little, like, it's like a dolly for a machine. So picture like a piece of metal that's in an L shape, you know, like this, right? And it's a long like this wide, as wide as your machine, right here, right? And then there's 2 wheels on it, and you can set the feet on this little, like little L dolly, and then lift the other end up, and it makes it like a wheelbarrow, and you can roll it around really easily. So if you have a few, that's the ticket. All right. So let's put the neckband on. We've got our French seams in here. I'm trying to decide, do I want to do, yeah, we're just going to do the inner one first. It's just not interfaced. And you know, I feel like, I think I'm going to interface this. Do you think that'd be too heavy? I just think it's going to be really hard to get on here. I think it's going to be hard to get this one on here if this isn't the same. Do I want to deal with that in linen? Hey, Kara, how's it going? You know what I mean? Let's just compare it right now. So this one's interfaced. This one's not. I should have interfaced it. I just didn't want it to get too thick. But I also don't want it to grow and be impossible. Oh, look at that. It's a little smaller right now. That's great. That's fine. It's probably not. It's just a linen illusion. Oh, that's smart, Libby. It's just a little taller then. That's great. That works. All right. So I'm going to start from the inside. So just so you know that this is the inside. See, there's my French seam there. And we're going to put this neckband. It's not a collar. It's a neckband, so it lays flat. Yeah, I wanted to say optical illusion, but I knew it was like a linen illusion. So we're just going to line it up to the neckline, hang it off 1/4 inch. And maybe a stay stitch would be good. Let's put a stay stitch in here. Let's be proper. I don't do a lot of stay stitches. They work really good. My problem with them is that I don't like the line of stitches I have to deal with, and I don't like the little threads at the end right here. Those always sneak out sometimes, you know? So I don't know why I'm so fired up today. I totally forgot today was the launch of the Brattle until like a couple days ago. And then I kind of like, it was in the back of my head, but I kind of forgot. And so this morning I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. I got to like, I don't have to post, you know, like, it's not about me, it's about the Brattle. But you know, I made a couple, so I like showing, it helps, right? It helps a pattern when you see more versions, so. All right. Hey Mary, how's it going? Oh, fun. I am excited about having this shirt. How long have I wanted this shirt? That'll be fun, Mary. Are you in the guild? I want to see a picture of it if you want to share. That would be something really fun to sew because you can kind of do a lot of over-the-top stuff, right? Okay. All right, so I have a little notch right here, and that's going to go to my shoulder seam. We're just going to try not to stretch anything, right? Hey, Sydney, how's it going? I'm going to stay on the left of my stay stitch line. Let's get this shirt out of the way here so we don't accidentally sew it. And we have a center notch right here, which needs to go right here. Let's do our non-negotiables here. I also want to put on this label, so we're going to stick this on here so we don't forget. Wait, is that really going to work? Ooh, this does not look like it's going to work. I knew that there could be some discrepancy because I hadn't trimmed the neckline. Oh, look at that. There's no way. Good thing we didn't get too far. Let's check this out. It did look really big, but I just figured it was the linen. And I knew I went a little lower. So let's see here. This goes like right. Is this the center? Where's the center? Yeah, that's about the center, right about there. Oh, this is so far away from matching. Like so far, wait a minute. All right, we gotta go to the pattern table. Something's up. Let me take this off. All right. Just take this one off here. I didn't set up that camera though. I also cut up my sloper yesterday, so it's a good thing I made a copy. Let's put this back here so we don't forget it still. Really horrible fret, really, oh no. All right, let me look at the pattern table camera here. I'm doing this project. Oof. And I wanted to scan my sloper in. All right, so I'm just gonna leave the face cam over here, but I'm gonna go over there and let's sort this out. Sometimes things happen. I still got to scan my sleeve in. My scanner was taking forever. All right. Let's see here. Let's try and get this to lay flat. I probably should put a stay stitch on my shirt here. Actually, this could be kind of convenient. We have a neck here. And a neck here. There we go. After you sold it to us like that, Mary, I don't know. There's a hashtag in the guild, hashtag fabric and notions swap, I think. I scanned it in with my printer. So that's why I cut it up. So I just drew 8.5, like piece shapes that would fit 8.5 by 11. Actually, let's just do this. Look at how much bigger this is. Did this really grow? Did I not put in enough tucks? I was really methodical about that part. This should go to like right here. Look at that. Oh, I know why, because there's a neckband. Okay, that's why. So if I line this up here and I line this up here, I think maybe the neckband needs to be wider, but I don't really want it to be too wide. So we're just going to make a pattern piece directly from this, correct it. I have had luck with that, Libby, but it is hard. Like, I think, you know, you can do that, but I just put it right directly on the glass. But if you put like a 1-inch square and maybe take a few pictures, maybe even draw a grid on it and take a picture, that could work. And then put your Procreate app to the grid, at 1-inch grid, you know. Because I have had luck with that when I've been like doing it really quick at home and I didn't have a scanner. All right, so we're gonna lay this on here. It's called Gold Star Tool, Barb. Gold Star Tool. They have a lot of like, well, you'll see. I'm trying to line up my shoulders right now. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I'm also trying to get this to lay nice and flat and be relaxed. I don't want to... Okay, this is so fiddly right here. Why are you acting like that? There we go, like that. I'm gonna get my shoulder seams lined up. I don't want it to be distorted, you know? It's worth fiddling with it to get your neckline nice and flat. And making sure that it's like that for a lot, right? Okay. And I'm gonna use a tracing wheel. Like that. There's my front. And we're looking at the cut edge, right? So the actual edge is a 1/4 inch below that. Plus I need a seam allowance, so we're gonna go a 1/2 inch below this line. And that will be the cut edge of the bottom of our facing. And I'll explain that, I'll illustrate that in a second. So, hey Barbara, how's it going? Right here is the actual neckline, right? So, because this was the raw edge, so a 1/4 inch away from that would be the actual seam line. So then I'm adding seam allowance to that other edge. And so we're gonna need it here too. We're gonna add our 1/2 inch seam. And then now, whoops, we can make it the width we want. So if I want it to be 1 inch wide, we'll do 1 1/4. 1 1/4, I'm gonna go 1 1/4 from this red mark. or I can go 1.5 from this cut line and then plus my seam allowance, so 1 3/4 cut wide. So we'll do this, make a parallel line. Got a little off track there. I'm trying to mark directly across, but I got a little bit off right there. All right, so here we go. And that's going to be our cut facing. 1 3/4. This doesn't look 1 3/4. Oh, it is. Okay, cool. All right, so this is our front. And we need a seam allowance here. So 1/4 inch, I'm going to go 1/4 inch there at the center front. There's our front. Yeah, exactly. I always forget about that place, which makes me feel kind of bad because I really want to support those places. I don't know why Waywack doesn't carry the pattern paper. I just got dot paper from them, and it felt like a good price. It's actually 36 inches wide. I've never gotten a narrow roll like that, but it's great for my table. My table's only 30 inches wide. So honestly, that works for me now. Okay, so same thing, we're just going to line this up. And I probably need to get rid of this so it won't bend. We'll put this down here. I know I'm going to forget that. Ray's going to go and like pick pumpkins or something and not say, "Don't forget your label." Okay, so just trying to get this nice and relaxed. I'm using my tracing wheel so I don't draw on my fabric. Remember how I told you guys the other day that I only have 3 white tops. One I made, one was ready to wear, and then I have a tank top, like a woven tank top. And I actually have 2 tank tops that are white. One an eyelet and one that's not, and that one's ready to wear. I was wearing the ready to wear one yesterday because my other one was dirty. And I ruined it. I got a green Sharpie dot right on my middle of it. I was like, wow, this is so appropriate that I really need more white shirts, and now I just ruined another one. All right, same thing. I wish this Sharpie was Sharpie, but it's just not. 1 3/4. And then I can leave the shoulder seam on this. It would add more stability to this linen piece. Or I could put these 2 pieces together and make one continuous neckband. I don't know why I just added, this is on the fold. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a miracle that my other one has lasted that long, you know? Okay, so one of the things I do when I have a piece on the fold, so I don't forget it, because I used to, is I just do this little wiggle line. It's my visual indication because I have this problem. And I can't believe I just did a right and a right. No, this is a right and a left. I did a right and a left. Okay, let's cut this out real quick. Still have my fabric over here. And we're going to be back on track. If you're just joining, I just had a little neckband issue, so I'm redrafting it. Sorry, my face cam's on. It's pointing at my sewing machine. I just didn't want to take the time to fiddle with it. But we're about to recut this out, and we're going to be back on track. And we will be able to finish our top. Like, can I get it to, this one needs to be on the fold. And then I can do this one right here maybe. I don't want to use this fabric too inefficiently. There. And there. I need 2 of these. I need 4, yeah, I do. Hey Amy, how's it going? Aprons are your friend. Yeah, so smart. I have wanted to get into an apron habit for so long, especially at work and especially when I lived back in Humble and I was always wearing hand knit sweaters because there I had a table, well you can't see it, but I had a melamine tabletop with my mat on top, my cutting mat. And that little like particle board edge would scratch my sweaters, you know? So it would have been really nice to have that apron protecting me. All right, I won't be too foolish. I was going to, so here, okay. So when I need to cut 2 things out that are both on the fold, right? So I need 2 of the center back. So one way to do it would be to put 2 layers of fabric, fold it, and then put it on the fold, but this is very inaccurate. So this is another way to do it that's more accurate. Fold each layer separately, like this. So now I have 2 pieces that are on the fold right here. And then stack those folds up, one on top of the other. Make sure everything's on grain too. This is my selvage, I've been watching this. I'm also looking at the grain of the linen. All right, and now we have this double layer fold to make sure you have all of your layers accounted for so you don't miss one. Oh, I did, Ray. It was, you know, it's funny because I have stood at a pattern table like this for so long, but I hadn't been knitting that whole time, right? So it was kind of a new phenomenon. And I couldn't figure it out at first. I was like, what is ruining? And it always would ruin like t-shirts, which I don't wear a whole lot of t-shirts. But you know how t-shirts get those little holes right at the belly? You know, so, all right, we're gonna mark the center back. We're gonna keep these not distorted. And now we're gonna cut out the front. We need interfacing too. What do we think? Do we want to do both layers interfaced? I don't know. I did get my bolt of tricot in. Okay, this is the front right here, and this is the shoulder. I don't want to lose track of that. So we'll put a pin at the shoulder. There we go. Move all this and this. And then let's get some interfacing out. Should we try my new bolt of tricot? Let's try it out. So now I can do bigger pieces that don't fit on my roll. I don't think that's a problem at all. It's not going to stretch if the fabric doesn't stretch. Okay, so we need 2. I think I will try and interface all of it. Why not? if you've ever watched me, I really make my roll of tricot work for things like this by like cutting into it and making it splay out. It's kind of ridiculous. It was really time for me to get wider inner facing, you know. Okay, that'll all fit there. Oh, on a knit button band. Oh, that's interesting. That kind of makes sense because it does stretch across the width of it. The roll does. And the button band is narrow, so, huh. You're sewing up your second pair of plateau jogging pants. Oh, thread nests. I call that thread vomit. On knit. Ugh. New subscribers, welcome. I will be back to my machine in a minute or two. We are redrafting a neckband. All right. Now, let's go and interface this. Iron it on. Where's my majiggy? Here we go. Majiggy, mouse, same thing. Today it is. Okay. I need to turn the computer so I can see chat. Bonus content. Ray always has something positive to say about things like that. Yeah, I don't consider that like bad that happened because it's just part of the process. And it's probably something to do with the sewing of the tucks. I literally just lost where the shoulders, but I can see that the pin was up there. So I think what I'm going to do is nip into this so that I know that's the shoulder. Since it's so similar looking, I don't want to sew it in upside down. You can kind of tell because it's long and flat. All right, so we're going to put this interfacing. I always put the interfacing with the meltable side up. I can kind of tell what the shoulder is though because it's the side that has the curve, the shorter curve. I don't know how to put it. It's straighter here for longer. All right, now we double check. We have the interfacing going the right way. Okay. Can you see the color change on my ironing board? Maybe. Let's see, is this stretchy a little bit? I think with a woven, it's just not going to be detrimental, you know? You could use it to your advantage, though, in certain areas. I just like the way the tricot adheres. It just makes the fabric, it feels like it's as one with the fabric. Okay, let's do our backs. Rough side up, rough side up. Don't immortalize any little thread scraps in your white shirt, Saremy. Okay. I love how wrinkly this is. This one's nice and smooth though. Look at how smooth this is. Terry, how's it going, Terry? Oh, what are you playing, Elena? I just finished, I got the platinum for something, so I'm kind of like trying to decide what to do next. Team Lurk. Okay. Let's sew. Wait. Oh! I checked that. You saw me check that. That's why you triple check. This stuff's very forgiving, though. We need one more piece now. That was really funny. Oh, I've seen that one. I haven't played it. Pattern table, pattern table, pattern table. Where are you? There it is. Oops. I haven't done that in a really long time. Bound to happen though, right? No biggie. I feel the rough side. It's so funny, when I laid those two out, I was like, how would I ever not feel the rough side? It's so obvious. And then I really jinxed myself on that one, huh? Okay. Yeah, that's twice in a row. Yeah, good save, huh? I think like, I don't know, I've never tested this out, but you know, when I make my ironing board covers, I always use like just simple cotton fabric. Like this is Kona cotton on here. I made this. And I never have a problem with fusible interfacing sticking permanently. But I will say, when I've used store-bought ironing board covers, I have had that happen. And I don't know why, because I doubt they're using like something that's a different content. I'm sure they're using cotton. You'd have to for the heat, you know? Oh, it's that time of year for gardening. All right, we're ready to sew. We got it all fixed. We're ready. Okay. I like I don't know if that's a typo, Shin, but goo save. I mean, it was kind of gooey, right? All right, so here's our shirt. And we're going to do our shoulder seams first. Actually, what we could do too right now is sew my label on. Where did I leave it? Here we go. I was thinking about using this one because I've never used one of these. I was thinking one of these long, narrow ones would be good on this little neckband. I'll put one of mine too. I've hardly used mine because it matches. Look at that. Looks kind of cute. I gotta change thread color though. Darn it. This will work. I think this will work. Yeah. Oh, screen printing ink. Now that's probably permanent, because it's supposed to be. Oh wait, did Julie ask a question? I missed your question, Julie, I'm sorry. I thought it bubbled if you use steam. Really? This is Tricot, so I haven't had that happen yet. That would not be good, because that is literally why I switched to only using this if I have to use a fusible. I'm still looking for a sew-in that I want. I want something that I can buy multiple times. You know, like something I can... Okay, Kira. I want something that I can like buy again if I like it. My kingdom for a scrap piece of fabric. Here we go. I don't know why you're in the garbage can. You're very valuable. Okay. All right, so we're going to put this like right in the middle. I'm going to sew all the way around so that it catches my silly little label. You know, I thought I improved upon this label when I made this one, but I don't know. My nose is yellow. I just noticed my nose is yellow, and I should have made these not gray, but like white or something. I think it would have looked more like weird. It's like the contrast with the yellow is weird. I only have 300 of those, right? So, okay. Let's put this down there. I'm going to start in the middle down here, actually. I'm not very good at setting these kind. Let's hope I nail it, right? I feel like I'm a little bit, being a little presumptuous right now. I want the label that says, tried to nail it. Okay. It's going to be facing to the inside of the garment. So it'll show like that. And then this will be on top of it. So that'll be the outside. I mean, I could put it on the outside, but I used white thread too on the bobbin. So that helps too. Okay. Ooh. Did you see that threading? Like it just went right through. Okay. Here we go. Back, back. Front, front. Front, front. You're not getting immortalized in my facing, buddy. Go away. All right. So we're just going to do 1/2 inch seam here. This is my opportunity to tell you when you're lining up seams, this is such a basic thing, but I see people, even advanced sewists, do this. So when you have, especially things like this, like shoulders, because there's angles when you get to this little shoulder seam, right? So when you are lining this edge up, don't line up these raw edges point to point. Line it up on the seam line. So if you have a 1/2 inch seam, you want to go a 1/2 inch away from that raw edge, slide over whatever you're sewing to it, make sure it intersects there and there at a 1/2 inch. You see how this doesn't line up right here? That's what you want. I mean, you don't want it to not line up. You just don't need it to line up. You know that you're okay if you're lined up right here at the 1/2 inch seam line. If you don't do that, what'll happen is you'll get a jog. When you open this up, your line right here will be like a jog because you've lined it up on that little raw edge. It'll be like 1/8 of an inch over. And then you're trimming it down to smooth out that area there, and you lose some of your width. So I know it's a really basic thing, but it's really, really common. People forget. I see videos of people doing that, and they just keep going. I don't know what happens later on, but it's really important. I think garments will get a little bit, the heck? Oh, I think garments, I cannot tell what the interfaced side is here. Weird. Okay. They can get smaller when people do that, so. Okay. Bias bespoke. That just sounds like it has danger written all over it. I'm just finger pressing those. Okay. All right. This is my inside labels. So we're back at the beginning. We're gonna mark the center of this bottom edge. I didn't really do that, did I? Did I? Oh, I marked the neckline. That's kind of helpful, but what's more helpful, that's just habit, because you know, usually you have like a collar going to that edge or the facing or something. But what we need is, we need this bottom edge that's going to the garment. We need that center line, because it's gonna go to the other one and it's gonna go to the shirt. That'll help the most. You don't need the one at the neck unless you just want it as like a guide when you're sewing the one to it. All right. And we're going to start from the inside. We're going to sew this like a collar stand with no collar. The shirt's getting kind of heavy. heavy and slippery. We're going to push this back. And we're going to just sew this. We're going to pin it this time to our non-negotiables, our landmarks here. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, welcome. I bet they could be here because of the cashmerette video. They may not know we're live. But this is mostly what I do on the channels. I sew live. I don't do a whole lot of garment uploads. I'd like to do some, but I just only do them when they're projects. All right, here we go. But I will be sewing a lot more knits soon. And so if you're here because of the Brattle, I will be doing more knits, especially live. All right, can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? We can do it. So I'm sort of keeping these two pieces separate. I do that a lot. I don't use pins a lot because I find it easier. I know that's probably really obnoxious to hear, and I don't mean it to be obnoxious. I find pins sometimes limit me, and so what right now I can do is I can keep these two layers kind of separate. It's going to be tricky. Like I have to get these opposite curves together, right? So, but I can, this one's not stay stitched, so I got to be careful. So the bottom one, I'm pushing toward the machine. Let's pull the camera way down. I should zoom in, I know, because the camera's in my face, but that's okay. This one is interface, so I didn't stay stitch that. But see, I'm pushing this one toward it, and that's just so it doesn't get stretched out, you know? The looser one is towards my feed dogs, which will also kind of help pull it in. And it looks like we're going to be fine. Just do a couple stitches here, a couple stitches there, no problem. It could be like this front could end up being easier than the other front. You never know. So if that happens to you when you do stuff like this, just know that sometimes that's just how it happens. It's not that they're not symmetrical, but I know how frustrating that is when you're like, literally, it's cut the exact same way. How come I can't get the left to sew, but I can get the right or whatever? It's just because your machine is pushing it a little differently. If you had luck on one side, what you should do is just flip it over and go the same direction. Like if you went from back to front and that worked, go from back to front on the other side, just flip the garment over. It'll be better, easier at least. Stocking stuffers from bias. There you go. All right, same thing. I have this little curve. The back isn't so bad, but I kind of, you know, I'm firm with this top one, and under one I'm just pushing towards the machine. I'm pretty excited that this first sample is turning out as good as it is. Like, I bet I'll want to do a few different things to this, but I think it's turning out pretty good so far. All right, we're gonna pin this one. I don't want this to go past that point, right? Look at all that. Eek. Okay, so we're gonna really scrunch that. Stay stitch would have been a really smart move on that edge. Fabric handling. That is what sewing is all about. All right, let's see how I did here. Let's check it out. Make sure I don't have any tucks I need to deal with. I have a thread. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So now we're going to, this is going to be a hard one actually. We're going to put a stay stitch around this perimeter edge, and it's not going to be a stay stitch. It's going to be that I'm going to pull on the thread a little bit, and so that it'll kind of scrunch and I can turn it under, because that's how we're going to stitch it down. I didn't even change my stitch length for this. That actually might end up being a problem because I interfaced it, and so it could be a little hard to pull. I'm going to pull it a little bit right now while it's off the garment. And so can I? Yeah, thanks, Mullen. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make another one. I might lengthen it, the bridle top. I also think I could pull the shoulders out a little bit. I'm not sure if my fabric shrank a little bit more after sewing it. But the shoulder seems kind of narrow. I love the way it looks in the like really drapey fabric. Okay, so you can see it's already turning under. Let's see, I'm going to take out the thread right here. I don't need it to go through that seam there. It's pretty flat right there. So we're just going to grab it here. Yeah, I think she is, Julie. Isn't she closet historian? I get her confused with someone else. Someone else really good. Like they're both really good. I get the two of them confused. And maybe that's who I'm confusing her with. Oh, what happened? Yeah, Shem, come on. I mean, if you're going to talk about another YouTuber here. So right now, just to recap, I'm just taking this bottom curved edge and pulling it a little bit, so that when I go to turn it under and top stitch, it'll want to do that. And it's just going to be a little easier to do it now before it's attached to the garment. Oh, wow. Well, that's terrible. I just lost one of my closest friends to that in January. That's terrible. Wow, I'm really sad to hear that. That's awful. I must not follow her on Instagram. It's kind of surprising how many YouTubers don't have Instagram, so sometimes I'm always surprised they don't get suggested to me, you know? Wow. Well, she doesn't know me from anything, but maybe I'll follow her and say something. That's awful. All right. So now we're going to put the inside of the garment. I'm going to take this outer neck band now, and we're going to sew it to the inner one, kind of like you do on a cuff or a collar stand if it didn't have a collar. Oh, okay. The treatments are pretty amazing these days as far as like how invasive they can and can't be. Okay. I'm going to start from this side actually. So I have this right sides together. And I'm going to go up along the center front and then across the top. I'm going to keep the one edge folded up. And when I do things like this, I kind of try and see if my placket right here is going to be in line with this up here. I may have to go back and fiddle with that, and I don't want to have to do that because you want it to look straight, right? And sometimes these have a way of looking like they're at an angle. We'll pivot here. Yeah, I bet a lot of people do. I know Amy Manarino's in her her sewing group. Man, life is just, you know, full of twists and turns. All right, so let's match up our center here. I'm really glad I interfaced both of these layers. I don't think it's too heavy at all. She mostly does vintage. All right. I could probably have clipped that neckline too, just so when I press it up into, well, we'll see. Maybe we won't need to. All right, we're back at the beginning, and I want to pivot here. And same thing, I'm going to kind of look and see. I have a little less here. Look, see if I get a nice straight line going down here. Like that. Oof, cut it a little close right there. All right, and we're going to trim around our corners here. I'm also going to just trim these a little bit more flush so they don't show through on the inside. Trim this corner here. And now we're going to clip our curve. All right. Did anyone post anything for the So Frugal March challenge? Anyone, let me know if you win. There was so many prizes. I think a lot of people will win. I think the deadline was yesterday. It's April Fool's Day. I think about all year playing a prank on you guys on April Fool's, and I forget. I did one time, and you guys didn't fall for it. All right. Let's see. Do I want to clip that curve or not? If I clip it, it might lay a little flatter. I don't like seeing clips in my neckband though. So we're going to clip this a little bit. Let's see, I did here. Okay, so we're going to do this side. This is like our last step besides the hem. Let's hope this goes well. If you guys, maybe if we have time, maybe, we might not, I don't know. Where you sewed and pulled the fold under, I just removed the interfacing from the seam allowance and ironed it over. Oh, that's a good idea. I do not remove the seam allowance on my interfacing pieces hardly ever. And that's a really good tip. I like that. Especially in something like this where I was a little bit nervous about it being bulky, you know? And I don't think it will be, thankfully. All right, so we're gonna flip this to the right side. My fingernails are almost back to normal from being dyed from that, or stained from that olive. All right, so let's press this. Mary, that's mean. Wow, that is mean. I am never gonna look at you the same again. It's a good thing. I love that you had to say, I had another cake there, don't worry. All right, so this is the inside of the garment. So we're just gonna press this seam up first. I would not put it past my husband to play a prank on me if he knows it's April 1st. What would it be? I need to be ready. It was a sponge cake. I don't have the nose of the ironing board, so we'll use my sleeve salami. You know, I'm gonna do it from this side first. It's too fiddly. Yeah, we'll do this. So now I'm pressing it from the right side, but I'm just pressing that seam allowance up and I'm pulling on it to make sure it does that on the inside too. Okay. Oh, I have a little tuck right here. How come we didn't notice that? Oh, look at that. There's a tuck right there. We got to fix that. Look at that. It's so obvious. I've been craving interviewing people. I don't know if I could do that though. I don't know if people would say yes to me, but I don't know. It sounds really satisfying. All right, so now we're gonna fold this over and, well, actually, we're gonna iron this edge right here, the neckline edge. Just gonna press it one direction as I put wrinkles in my neckband there. Oh gosh, Beth, I'm with you. Yeah. I think having an iron you really like makes you want to press more, you know, and that helps. I liked my old iron a lot too. Now that I've had this one, I'm like, oh yeah, every time I have to iron something at home, I'm like, why isn't it doing anything? But, and having a setup, you know, and just being able to just like pop over and do it, that helps me, encourages me to get up and actually do it. For some people, especially if you have like mobility issues or something like that, or you do a ton of it like quilters do, what they do is they have like, let me show you. They have like a little felt pad. This one got burned, but a little felt pad next to their sewing machine and a little tiny iron. And then you don't have to get up. That might be helpful too for some people. I'm not saying that you need any of that encouragement. I definitely iron more now that I sew in front of people. Like, I'm not gonna even hide that fact. I do plenty of things that I know everybody doesn't do, or I skip a lot of steps already. But ironing really does give me a better result. And this linen, I just have to. Almost to the front here. Just sliding it between my hands, get it right on that edge. Okay. Last ironing step is turning it under. Maybe I won't though. I think I won't. All right, so when I do things like this where I have to pin two layers that are identical together, like a waistband, I usually will pin a parallel line here. This way I can't pull this edge, like pull it to finish it and over rotate it to where the seam will show on the right side, right? It kind of stabilizes it, gives me a really solid thing to pull against. On a waistband, you know, a waistband's a little wider, so I just put it like a third of the way. Doesn't really matter where. My sewing got a bit deflated today. First stripe fabric pulled. Oh yeah, that fabric sounds like it was hard to wrangle. Then I made a quick twirl of the Pika vest and it was so small. Is the Pika the men's or the women's? They're tricky to tape together. What makes them tricky to tape together? Are they the ones where you have to cut the corners off? Or are they the no trim ones? Love it. They'll love those no trim ones. All right, so this is a very small seam allowance. Let's cut this little thread off. Hey, comfortable. Especially because my shirt was like pulling on it. All right, here we go. So when I do things like this, and if you want a better explanation, oh, okay, Terry, thanks. There's no lines to follow. What? That's weird. I wonder if it was, did you only print out like one size or two sizes? I have found often with her patterns that she will forget, I think, certain elements on certain layers because I've had facings or pockets just not show up on one size layer. So I'll bet there are lines. You're doing A4 because she has A4 and letter, right? Okay, so when you have these little areas like this one I could have sewn a little closer to the edge, but it'll be okay. What I usually do is I stick this one, the body right here, I stick this one up behind the folds here. So it lines up with that edge right there, right? And I'm gonna wrap this one around the seam allowance like this. And then I set it down like that. And you'll get a nicer looking join right there. I will usually pin it and then I will go back and fuss with it once I do a little bit more. It's very much more obvious on the cuff video because it's larger. This is a very small seam allowance, so. I would normally not pin this, but I feel like people would be mad if I didn't right now. And I think I'll get a better result if I do. I'll be mad. Oh, I still have that tuck to deal with. Right here. Let's get rid of this. Often what I'll say is, you know, if you have a little tiny tuck and it's between the stitches, don't take it out quite yet. Try and scratch it and it'll usually fall into place. This was obviously is much bigger than that. Can't see the stitches, so I need to go through the seam. So we'll just take out like maybe, hopefully an inch will do. Yeah, I think that'll work. We'll re-sew it. I don't want it to form again. This is when linen is your friend. I like pinning things upside down, but then I'm always worried I'm gonna not put it in the right spot. Oh, that's interesting, Mullen. That's weird. Yeah, exactly, Elena. I've never set up a file like that before, so I don't really know what it takes. You know, it must be, must have multiple steps to do. All right, let's pin this one here. Let's get rid of this thread. Sorry, my hands are so ugly right now. Between all the Sharpie stuff I've been doing, deciding that the olives must taste good the other day, which was such a bad mistake. I will use my awl here to also just kind of finesse this little area. Is this a thread right here? No. It's the edge of the fabric. Okay, that's fine. That's the, it's a thread, but it's the linen thread. Okay. I need to pull this apart a little bit. That's that little gathered edge. You know, I don't know why I did that, because I've told you guys before, when we bought our house, there were all these olives on the ground everywhere. And I picked one up and I thought, cool, black olives. And I took a bite of that thing and man, it ruined my mouth for the rest of the day. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, it was nasty. I was like, okay, there's more to olives than I know about. And then I learned later that, yeah, you can't eat them raw. You need to brine them, right? It's just, you just can't. The time of year we looked at our house was right now. Like, we were looking right now. And so the fact that I just thought, oh, the birds are loving these things, this thing must be good. No, I am not. I looked into it. Michael tried it a little bit. It was not good. It's a little more subtle than people make it look out to be. And maybe it's our variety. I think our variety, though, is a good variety. Olives are grown in our area. And these olive trees are over 100 years old. They're from one of the, it's one of the university extension programs. Put it there. Nothing wrong with me. Oh, they're just very, you probably can't see. They're just very marked up right now. They're not too bad. They're not too bad. They're not as bad as I probably think they look. But yeah, anyway, I thought, oh, the birds are loving these things. Maybe now they're good. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. Like, this is literally the same month of the year you tried this and it was terrible. And I was really cautious this time. Like, I broke it apart and I was like, but then both my thumbnails were just black, coated with the black olive juice. It was like, it's kind of more like black rather than purple. I was gonna say purple, but I don't think it's really that purple. I love olives. It didn't ruin olives for me because it did not taste like an olive. It just tasted bad. It was very astringent and bitter and really weird. And you know, the olives, when they're like that, they're really juicy. When they've been sitting there on the ground and just kind of basically not decomposing and not rotting, they're just sitting there. They are very juicy. And so it just like spread throughout my mouth instantly. And I was like, we hadn't even looked at the house yet. So I had to pretend like everything was fine that whole time, you know. And not to mention that it was like right at the beginning of the panini, because it was like March, April. We couldn't touch anything in the house. Like, it was like all the doors, they just opened all the cupboard doors and pulled out all the drawers and opened every door in the house so that you just weren't allowed to touch anything. You had to like sign a whole thing. If anyone's bought a house during this time, you know, it's like, and so I couldn't get a glass of water or anything. If no one had been looking, I would have probably just like turned on the faucet and gotten a drink, but not during the panini. You know, I didn't want to break any. You have to sign a whole thing, you know. So it was just a funny experience. And, you know, a little reckless of me. There you go. I'm going to break that little thread there. That was pulled too much. Please stay on the table. Ooh, orange chili olives. So that's the way they cured them. My old assistant, Rayanne, her family grew olives. So she like remembers like going to the packing plant and the picking, all of it. Like, and she said, you know, like she's not, like she doesn't eat a lot of olives because she's just still kind of just sick of them. They got all the like broken little olive bits that fell through that you can't can because they're not whole olives, like put in the jars. And so they only ever had the little broken ones, you know. Still good, but I wanted to learn more about the whole olive process from her, but she was pretty young. This part right here is really tough. Look at how much whiter that looks. I need to pull on this one a little bit more. I have to take out that stitch there. Little green olives, that flavor. Ooh, that sounds good. My husband we got a new cookbook for our Instant Pot on Mediterranean food. I'm always very leery of Mediterranean food because there's a lot of goat cheese and I don't like goat cheese. But he made us fish stew last night and it was really, really good. And it had green olives in it. And I wanted those green olives so bad. I wanted like 4 times as much in there. I just only like green olives stuffed with pimento, no black olive. Yeah, they are the same as black, exactly. Yeah, that is one thing. Like olives are green, and then the longer they sit on the tree, they will turn black. But usually they're picked when they're green, and then as they age and they brine them, that's when they turn black. But green olives and black olives are the same thing. And a lot of black olives are dyed too, I'm pretty sure. I don't know a lot about it though. Don't quote me. I started researching it because this is definitely something that I would do. It'd be like, okay, we're going to start canning olives and go down the whole rabbit hole of it and learn about it. And I started quickly realizing, well, we don't have a proper way to pick them because the trees are so big. They're really big and tall. And I think this might be the kind of produce that is, the trees are shaken. Have you ever heard of that? That they shake them? And I think that that would be the best way. So then you'd have to have a way to catch them. Like I've thought about it, you know, but after my making marmalade, I made satsuma marmalade this year. Nobody's getting a jar of that. It was like 6 hours and I got 4 little jars. Yeah, right, Terry? I know, these curves are kind of hard. Look at all those pins. And I never pin. This right here is the concerning part right here. You see that? Oh, right? Oh, totally blue magilla. I love that. Yeah, we make that sometimes. I often, when I make a salad, I don't use dressing. I'm just not a big fan of salad dressing. Yeah, they put nets on the ground, exactly, Mala. I just don't have any of those. But when I make a salad, I usually just put a few olives on it and maybe some pickled beets instead of dressing. I love it. Okay, where's my... Okay, we're going to pin the tag up like this so that we don't stitch through. We're going to start at the center back and we're going to go all the way around. And I'm also going to pull on this like this, kind of straighten it out a little bit. How's that? Is that good right there? So it's kind of rumpled and pull like this, hopefully smoothing out anything on the bottom. We're on the right side of the garment, so we don't really have to worry about if we're catching the facing underneath. We just need to worry that our folded edge goes just past the seam. That's all we're really concerned with. I don't know if I can hold my awl right now, but I need it. Little thread there. What's going for me right now is that the even if the seam does show, it's really hard to see because it just matches the linen so much. I feel like I have a little wrinkle in my neckband over here from the interfacing step. Right here. See that? What's that about? Let's try and loosen this up now. Could probably iron that out later. Okay. So when I start getting close to this little edge here, I'm going to make sure that I'm gently pushing on the stand this way so that this doesn't like slump over the edge. You know how like when you're approaching something like that, it just pushes your fabric, kind of makes it hang off the edge. We don't want that to happen. So we're just going to kind of gently make sure that it's staying where we wanted it to begin with. Let me get to this point here. Do I have enough for one more stitch? Let's see. Kind of. All right, there we go. Didn't really work on this point very much. A little late right now, but I'll try this with my left hand. That seemed kind of risky. I'm not too bad with my left hand for things. I live with a lefty, so I eat with my left hand now. I use a mouse with my left hand too. But I don't know if I could trust my left hand with an awl. Okay. So now we're just going to go around this whole top neck edge here. I like trying to keep it in the curved shape of the neck so I don't distort it. I won't pull this. There's no need to pull it. I don't want to distort it. Okay. Boop. All right, now we're in pokey pokey territory here. You know, I was kind of late to that news about Sew Over 50 as well. They do a lot of lives on their Instagram, and I just don't make those. And rewatching them is kind of hard. Like, this is one thing about Instagram Live I don't like. Like, you can't scrub through the video. And if you like navigate away and start again, it doesn't remember where you're at. But anyway, Sandy and Judith want to step away from it, and they've been trying. They were just going to like snooze the account. Man, I would have been like, oh, I'll help, you know, figure this out. But I was really late to it, and everyone rallied around them. So it's going to be fine. There's other people getting involved and taking care of it so that they can step down. But I feel like such a kinship with that Instagram account because, you know, Judith and I started the same month on Instagram. Like, we started our accounts on the same month. This looks a little crooked. That's why I'm trying to pull it out a little bit. And so we were recommended to each other. So it's been just amazing seeing that that Instagram account grow and just be this incredible resource and cheering section for a huge community of people. So, and Judith is doing like a research project on inclusivity and representation of the Sew Over 50 community and patterns. And I think that the results are going to come out in a few weeks. I'm eager to hear that too now. So, do I know what the weight is? I think Terry's right. Yeah, thanks, Terry. Yeah. I bought it a long time ago, so I kind of forgot. But she's right with the style number. Okay, get rid of this one and this one. We're almost done. We're past the hard parts. The center front is, to me, the hard part. It's the most visible. Pull out a little bit, push in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Nothing funny about that. Men are totally welcome. That's how I found out about Dwayne, Mainly Menswear. He's amazing. I love watching his journey. Okay. I think I just sewed through the label. Dang it, I did. I did so good until that, and I felt it. I was like, that felt a little soft and squishy. Okay. Get rid of that. Trim all these threads. Oh, we still have the sleeves. I'm like, we're almost done. We're not. Both. Mainly menswear, and mainly is spelled like the U.S. state with an E at the end of Maine. His name is Dwayne. He's an American, but he's in the UK right now doing this year-long tailoring course. It's really cool. He was also interviewed on So Organized Style twice. Like it was like a part 1 and part 2. Really sweet guy. Looks pretty good. I like it. I like it. And see, we sewed on the right side, but look, we didn't always fall on the band on the inside. This is that trouble spot right there. But sometimes we did. Let's get rid of our back stitch right here. All right, we're gonna French seam some set-in sleeves. You know what I was thinking? Oh yeah, absolutely, Patrick. Yeah, check them out. Mainly menswear. Oh, Mullen put a link in the chat. There you go. Yeah, he is awesome. All right, so we have a left sleeve and a right sleeve. So we're going to immediately sew this so that we don't get them confused. Yeah, he's and he's on Instagram, same thing, mainly menswear. They love it when there's anybody. They want diversity of every kind on their page, the Sew Over 50 crowd. I can't remember what Dwayne did before, but this is like his second, you know, passion. Thanks, Margaret. All right, let's iron this real quick. It was supposed to be sleeveless, but I'm putting sleeves on it because I will get more use out of it. I kind of waffled on that a lot. What's that? You know what I was thinking was if I don't like the length of these, I think I'm going to leave them unhemmed at first. I might put some tucks at the hem. I think that might look, do you think that would be gilding the lily a little too much? Let me push this over a little bit so I don't get a crease in it like I did on the other one. He was an RN, that's what it was. He was a nurse. Yeah. RN means registered nurse in the States. He's having such a good time over there in the UK too. Yeah, right? Barbara, I think so too. I think like it just popped into my head this morning. I was like, ooh, maybe I could add some tucks there. Because I'm pretty sure these sleeves will look a little big. There's a chance I have a lift in my sleeve, which means that when I lift my arms up, the whole garment won't go. I do that a lot. So there's a chance this has that. Okay. You're just going to teach me no text? Oh, I thought of that. All right, we're going to put so we're going to French seam, a set-in sleeve. There's a lot of these in my sleeve. I do not joke about adding a lot of sleeves of ease. I add a lot. So we're going to put a easing stitch along the seam line just to the right of it. It's not a basting stitch. I don't make the stitch length shorter, I don't think, or longer, because I think that will give you tucks. Let's do our other one. Just go notch to notch. I have a dedicated video for this too. I feel like it's creeping ahead of one of my other videos for most watched right now. I have to say, this stitch length seems really small. That seems really small. But I was kind of going after that look that the April Cornell top had. Hey Ann, how's it going? There's Men Who Sew, that hashtag as well too, Patrick. Men Who Sew. All right, so we're just gonna gather it up. This is too much. I usually do it just to where right before I start getting tucks. I do this on just about anybody's sleeve. I don't usually like figure out exactly how much because that's usually all you really need. You can always take some out. But you don't really have to agonize over like, how much do I need to gather this? You know, just pull on it a little bit. I do one side and I do the next. And I just kind of slide them down until they disappear. And I go to the other side. Pull from the same side. Always pull. So see, I pulled this thread from the inside here. Do this one from the inside. Or if you do it from the other side, do both sides. Otherwise, it'll lock up. You're basically making the thread into a drawstring. That's all you're doing. Okay, so now we have that nice ripply edge, right? And so we're going to put this, actually we're going to put this wrong side out because we're doing French seam. This is the back. I'm going to press the seam allowance of the sleeve towards the front to offset the thickness. We're going to leave the shirt right side out. If this is the back, then we want to be on this one over here. We're going to press the seam allowance on the top towards the back, seam allowance on the sleeve towards the front, wrong sides together, just like that. And then we're going to just check our gathers. So I just put it in the armhole and I look. That looks pretty good. They're probably a little tight because this is sagging a little bit away. It won't line up perfectly because the curves are the opposite of one another. Trusty bent jumbo safety pin. Oh, I got those things. They are pretty tiny, but I did get them. What else did I get from Waywack that I wanted to show you guys? I'm going to use 2 pins. I'm going to do one at the bottom, and then we're going to take the notch that's on the sleeve here, and you're going to put that to the shoulder seam or the notch, whatever your pattern has. Push the shoulder seam towards the back of the garment. Those are the only 2 pins you'll need. Okay. All right, and so I'm going to start at the bottom. And I'm going to sew, I have a 1/2 inch total seam allowance. 5/8 inch is a little easier. So I'm going to do it a little less than 1/4 inch, which is like a little less than half the amount of the seam allowance. If this was a 5/8 inch seam, I would just sew this at 1/4 inch. So you had 1/4 and 3/8 divided into the halves that you need. All right, so we're gonna go around. Keep your raw edge lined up. Why is this all funky under here? Man, linen. Okay, here we go. Now, it's okay if you stitch over tucks right now, because this is not the last seam. So if you stitch right now, you can see how this is all ruffled like that. I will be stitching down these tucks. Oh yeah, male pattern boldness. I remember that. I forgot about Peter Lappin, yeah. So when I get to these little areas, these ruffly areas, I try and like mash them down so that the tuck doesn't do this, doesn't crumple. Like my machine, what's going to happen is if I don't control how this gets stitched down, the machine will come along and push the tuck at an angle like this, right? And you don't want that to happen. See that? So what you want to do is keep these tucks perpendicular to that seam. And it's okay if they get stitched down now because that's where we want this excess to be, is inside the seam allowance. So this one's trying to collapse. So I'm just going to use my awl to kind of straighten it out a little bit. Most sleeves don't have as much ease as this one does. This is my pattern, so I put a lot in there because it'll be more comfortable that way. So that was the cap right there. And now, if you're new to setting in sleeves, I know that they can be really frustrating. So see, look at this one's a little looser. So we'll just take this long thread, just give it a gentle pull, distribute this a little bit. I do that at the cap. I check at the cap because I have this whole section. You only want to put your gathers above the notch. You don't want it in the lower armhole. That's not where you need it. You need this to like give your arm the depth from your armhole out. I always call it the gush of your arm. Now it's really easy to be like, oh, I want to just yoink on my armhole because it's really stretchy here at the bottom, but don't do that. and I like I was saying, I know that doing these are really hard. It's such a skill worth learning because set-in sleeves are way better fitting than cut-on or raglans, always. So it's worth it. I know a lot of pattern companies don't give you a lot of patterns with it, but all right, so there we go. So you can see we did stitch down tucks here, but you see how this tuck right here is stitched here, and it disappears at the stitch line right here. So now the next step's gonna be really easy. I think that if you're new to setting in sleeves, French seams are not beyond your skill. It almost helps because you're securing the whole sleeve before you sew it. It almost makes it a little easier. Oh no. Oh no, Mary. They cut it with nothing? Oh. See ya, Amy? Amy's got a soccer game to go to, I know it. Or to watch. Her team's playing. Will they have something to wear at the show, Mary? Sorry. Sorry, my camera's crooked. All right, so same thing on this side. Remember, I put the underarm seam of the garment towards the back, underarm seam of the sleeve towards the front. That's just so you can offset the thickness. It also helps you match the seam really easily. We need 2 pins. And then one at the cap notch to, what is this long thread here? Oh, that's not the cap notch, okay. Here's the cap notch right here to the shoulder. Jeans are perfect. All right, check our amount here. We can add a little more to the back side here, or I don't know if that's the back sleeve. Oh, it is the back sleeve. I often do this too. I hold the whole thing, pull, and this evenly distributes my gathers. I don't know how I figured that out. Probably trying to control it so it didn't do too much. But it evenly distributes it all at the same time. All right, do this side. And then we'll go to the iron. And then we'll do our last 2 seams. And we have the hem. That's it. So next month, I'm going to be doing the Amelia Bomber jacket by Wardrobe by Me. And then for the drafting, what was I thinking? What was it that I was thinking of doing? I can't remember. That's so funny. I saw this pair of pants in a catalog recently, and I kind of want... Bye, Shim. See you later. I kind of want to copy them, but I want to make fabric that's like... it's not going to be like theirs, but it's going to kind of give the same effect. But I also want to do the Amelia dress. I feel like there was something else I was thinking of doing, though. Oh, maybe it was more knits. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, is knits. This one feels bigger than the other one. It's probably the linen relaxing a little bit. You know? Yeah, there wasn't much internet then. Exactly. I feel like every day I struggle with what direction should I go? Like as far as like my channel or whatever, right? The channel is not going to pay the bills. And so, but in some ways I like it being like this place for content so that people can learn a little bit about my style and how I do things and if it works for them, right? But I also know like I could just sink full-time effort into growing my channel and it being like a bigger thing. But I also think that if you're not constantly doing that, eventually that just fades, right? So you could look at it and people could go, oh, you should do a YouTube channel or whatever, anything that will pay you monetization, right? And then they think, oh, forever and ever you're going to have this passive income. I don't think that's really true with something like YouTube. So I don't know if it's the best place for effort. If your ego is into that, like being someone who's in front of a camera, wants attention, I don't think those are necessarily bad things. Some people, that's what feeds them, right? That's not what feeds my ego. Mine's a little different. So I would really like, I don't know what I want. Of anything, what would I want out of this? I would just like to do lives. That's what I just want to do lives. I like doing lives. I enjoy the act of editing, but it's not my favorite thing in the world. I just like the real-time help, you know? Okay, let's trim this one. I'm just going to trim this down because of all these threads. This is like the notorious part of a French seam, right? These little threads that you see on the right side of your garment, and you're like, dang it. We're trying to get rid of these and we're not going to handle the seam very much. That's awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, and some of those, you know, videos, they just keep getting watched, which is great. But, you know, most people favor really short, snappier, edited stuff, and it's not my style. Eventually, someone will be able to replace my content with something snappier, edited, even if it's not as great, because there's plenty of people who have great sewing videos that are really entertaining to watch, and they're going to do better. Yeah, I was starting to put this effort into doing like a whole beginning series, and I was like, don't do that, Saremy. Yeah, but we see sometimes what happens, Terry. You know, I make mistakes. I can't do it with everything. Like with drafting, I haven't done it enough with drafting, so I'm still trying to figure out how to. Wait a minute. One of these is on wrong. One of these is on wrong. It's this one. What the heck? This is the wrong, no, this one's right. This is the wrong side. This one's on wrong. What the heck? How did that happen? See, Terry? Don't be amazed. Yeah, this is on wrong too. Oh my gosh. This one's correct. This one's not correct. Oh my gosh, that makes me so mad. I just gave you guys such a great tutorial on a sleeve, and I was doing this one the wrong way. When I saw this, I was like, that's funny. Yeah. See, Terry? It's not that amazing. Whoops. Rip. It's all I have to do is, yeah, flip the sleeve the wrong other way. So tell me a story. If I could see the stitches better, oh, maybe I can. I could probably pick it out a little faster, but I don't. My stitch length is pretty short here. Do-do-do-do-do. Good thing we didn't take our gathering line out. Hey, Cassandra. Everyone always says that. Oh yeah, the seam ripper, favorite tool, hands down. Between that and the awl, what would we do without this little guy? You know? Exactly, Ray. That's so funny because I was really methodical. Remember about my sleeves when I sewed them? Do I have one of my sleeves then sewn the underarm seam wrong? We will see in a second. I don't remember making sure my notches lined up because I will admit I usually don't notch my sleeves. I don't really need to. I just notch the sleeve. I don't notch the garment. So I don't check them lining up. As long as I know which of the sleeve is front and back, I usually know my garment. And I feel like notches are, you know, like when you cut into your fabric, it just weakens it. And with a French seam, it can also be a visible cut in the seam allowance, not on the outside or anything. So I just don't notch a lot for certain things. Almost done. Let's hope I ripped out the right one. One of my tips when you have this kind of like issue and you get mad, and I know you can't always do this, but my biggest tip is at least get it back to ground zero like that, right? And then walk away. It will seem like not a big deal if you come back and you get to start over and you don't have to do the ripping yet. All right. Yeah, so if this is this, that would be correct and that would be correct. And okay, this one's correct. I'm doubting everything in the world right now though. All right, so this should have gone to this. Yeah, that was it. That's so funny that I did that. Okay. Wrong sides together, both of them. I had only one of them. That's so funny. Oh well. Welcome, Nikki. There have been a few people subscribing today. It's great. Probably because of the brattle. Have my camera right in the way. we'll get it back on track. Those are both wrong sides together. We are feeling confident. I have to pep talk myself. We are not doubting anything. It is not an illusion. Oh, is that my notch? I hope that's my notch. I did cut off, trimmed it, you know, so I don't have really my notch anymore. Okay. Yeah, it's actually pretty good, Terry. I have to say, it's been actually pretty easy to deal with. I think the tucks also put it to the test because, you know, when you have to do something kind of precise, linen isn't really the greatest for being precise, but it's also really forgiving. And when it's not precise, it looks okay when it's done, when it's in linen. You know what I mean? So I like the weight of it. Like it feels drapey and heavy, you know, like a good linen. There's always a problem, right? This top did not have very many steps today, but they have taken a bit of time, haven't they? I have a few threads I'm going to have to get rid of later. Okay. Okay, let's trim that down a little bit. We lost a little bit more. All right, now we're gonna iron. I do like it. I like it a lot. It is a pretty short top. And that works great for me because I have had these pants I've been trying to find things to wear with that are high-waisted. That would be my thing to note about it. I also think, like I made it in 2 different fabrics, and I think both fabrics actually turned out great in it. One was just like a cotton, probably cotton lycra knit that I got from Maker's Fabric. And then the one I'm wearing, I had to find a fabric for that video that fit a lot of criteria. I had already found the other fabric, the rust colored one, in the Instagram photos. And I had even shown that fabric to use. But after recording my first video, we decided that we needed to have, and this was one of the things they requested, Cashmere, a fabric that has a very clear right and wrong side with contrast thread. And, oh, and for me, it has to look good on camera, which is really hard. It can't be too dark. It can't be too light. And so I found this fabric from Girl Charlie, and I looked everywhere for a knit. It was really hard to find something, and something that I felt like was a good looking fabric. Like it doesn't have to be a good looking fabric per se for doing a video, but I personally think that if you're obviously sewing samples in a fabric, so right now I'm just putting this on the edge like this, and then ironing it down. If you're using a fabric that isn't very aesthetically pleasing, it can be a little distracting for people in a video, like if you're using something that is obviously like scrap fabric. And I don't know why, but for me, there is something about that that kind of takes away from the video. Cashmere was very open about that. They were like, you can use whatever. We don't need the sample. You can keep the sample. You can throw away the sample, you can donate the sample, whatever. You know, we'll take care of the sample if you want. Like they were very accommodating with what to do with the sample. So that also made me kind of want to make sure that it was something usable. That's my criteria. because I just, you know, feel like it could be. And I think it makes for a nicer video. So, but it is hard to find a knit that that has a print that is not black, meaning the fabric base isn't black. It was really hard. I'm still thinking this is going to be wrong. I thought I turned my computer to face, but I can't see the chat. So I always iron the wrong side of the seam here. I just iron it one direction. Doesn't matter which direction. Pull apart these two areas and press it. You really need it to be easy to do the next ironing step. And get something like this. If you don't have like a salami or a ham or any other processed meat to put underneath your ironing, get like a towel, like a big towel, and just wad it up, like fold it up and make like a ham out of it. That's what I used to always do, especially when I was on my wool mat. Okay, now we're going to flip it, put the sleeve inside. Fold it right along this edge. You want to get it right on that edge, just perfectly on that edge. And I try and keep it in the curve that it is. See how that's the armhole curve? I try and keep it like that. Man, if I would have just like serged and overlocked, we would be done. But I want this top for a long time, so. Also, if I had done the serge and overlock, what if I had put a sleeve on wrong that? Oof, that would take a lot longer to take out. And I just iron those tucks right down. It's fine. Ooh, seam ripper on the loose. Okay. All right, Patrick, see you later. Have a good weekend. Yeah, exactly, Terry. I agree. All right, so sort of final step of your French seam set in sleeve, and look at that, no pins necessary. It's just ready to go. Just make sure you enclose that raw edge. I try and again keep it like in that curve. So to the left of your easing stitch, so it doesn't show on the right side. Often I remove it because it's really satisfying. And in these little areas where all the tucks were, just kind of push them around. They won't tuck. You won't catch it in the seam. It's pretty easy to manage now. You don't need pins or anything because you've already pinned it and ironed it within an inch of its life, right? So right now this sleeve edge is like tighter, right? Because we've tucked it up. And so I kind of push it like this and kind of curve it around. Like this. I'm kind of doing this. And we're home free. All right, remove your easing stitch if you want. I'm going to keep moving so that we can get through this. We'll check it out though. So here we are. You might see like little tucks like that. That's okay. It's just from like putting it in there, right? And then when I push the seam allowance towards the sleeve, you can see it'll just fill it up. So we'll press the seam allowance towards the sleeve. And you can see we get that nice little bump right there. That's what you want. You want that bump. That little like boop right there. All right, and let's do this one. 4:20. I told my husband we're going to have lunch today. Well, I didn't tell him. we talked about it. All right. So I said it'd be done at 1. He knows me though. All right, let's see. Ooh, it's looking so cute. Ooh, I'm excited. Yeah. It looks, sorry about the microphone. It looks so different with sleeves on it to me. Little pop back there. Oh, I love how loose it is. I need to do a hem on it. And some buttons and buttonholes. I think I'm gonna make the sleeves a lot shorter too. I'm gonna check that out first. All right, I'm gonna hem this first though, and then we'll call it. I thought we'd get to do some buttons and buttonholes. Yeah, like when I put it on, like without my shirt on underneath. Is that my hair? It's so dark. I think my original picture is this little top was I'm wearing the trousers I'm wearing right now. Little Miriam trousers, because I was like, I need some high-waisted or some shirts to go with my high-waisted pants. Okay, so let's hem the bottom here. Let's see, what do we want to do here? Do I want to do this? Actually, when I do hems now, when there's like a button opening right here, I used to do this. I used to fold this, so let's make the fold line really, this is the finished line right here, right? I used to do this. I used to fold the corner down like this, fold it up, so now you have this clean edge, right? So you have no little threads that are gonna poke out at the top. And then I would just turn it under, right? And then stitch it down like that. Like that. It's great because then you have this nice clean little point. Lately, this is great, this works, I still do this sometimes, but I get kind of funny about where my stitch line is, and sometimes I want my stitch line to either go all the way to this edge or to line up with this edge, so you would come down, turn a corner kind of thing. I don't like it stopping in the middle of a placket. So lately, the phase I'm in now, is I will turn and turn right here, but I worry about this little raw edge sneaking out, right? And so what I do is I sew along the center front here and secure it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna check my plackets first though. Yeah, I really like the tucks at the back. Am I gonna do anything special with the buttonholes since you don't interface it? Oh, I think they're gonna be fine. It feels pretty good. It's kind of a good weight for that. All right, so let's look at our center fronts here. I might even do snaps. Don't want snaps? This one looks curly. Look at that. Look at that little edge there. Let's get rid of that. Let's look at what we're really looking at here. Yeah, see, it's a little different. I'm just going to cut these the same and then deal with the consequences. Meaning, now I go, okay, this little edge sticks past that, right? So now we need to smooth it out a little bit. I have these little like pearl snaps I could put on. I don't want to like shoehorn the look of it. You know what I mean? Meaning I don't want to make it too distinctive so that that is what you see on the shirt. I want it to blend in. Buttonholes is, yeah, no snaps on a pretty linen. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so we're just gonna mark the same spot on each side so we know. We fold the same point. Like that. I don't know where to put that there. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna fold this so that this edge is nice and straight along the center front. I don't want it hanging out past. So I'm gonna take my awl and kind of poke it in there a little bit. Just poke it in there. So now I'm gonna catch it. And what I've been doing too is playing around with where my back stitch lands. So I'm gonna start here, back up to the corner, come back up to the fold, turn, and start sewing. That's my plan. Let's see if I do it. That way I don't put that back stitch right at the bottom of the hem. That's so funny. For a long time, I had this problem where every time I wrote the word think, I would only get honk. I'll honk to that. Just gonna do a 3/8 turn, turn. That's it. Linen is very easy to deal with until it's not. Put this, let's trim this little edge here, that seam allowance edge. Is anyone gearing up for like starting to sew summer stuff or winter stuff, depending on where you live? Are you like shifting gears? I feel like I have plenty of time to do that, but here, you never know. Like, it could be 100 degrees next week. It should be. Yep, honk. Honk of your little pretty buttons. Oh, did you? Yeah. Summer. It's a-comin'. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Okay. So my friend Rayanne, she's getting married in May. She's gonna have a theme wedding. It's gonna be murder, mystery, and masquerade and marriage. And there is actually going to be a murder mystery dinner. I am so bad. This will be really fun. I'm usually like, no, I don't want to do something like that. But it'll be fun. I don't know anybody, so it makes it almost, in some ways, like whatever, right? So when she told me she was probably going to do some sort of theme, I was like, oh, it's going to be something murder related. I just know her. She loves Murder, She Wrote. Like, that is her jam, right? And among other things, right? Did I just run out of bobbin thread? I think I did. Of course I did, because that's all I have left. But I instantly was like, I wonder what era, like, Murder on the Orient Express, yeah, I did, takes place. Like the 30s or 40s or something, right? And so then I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do something from that era, and hopefully it will be in line with whatever she's doing. We got the invite the other day, and it's Art Deco looking. So I was looking at the Decades of Style website, and I started like Googling like 1930s cocktail, it's cocktail dress too. 1930s cocktail dress. Sewing pattern. That's what I was putting in. All right, here's my question. I'm gonna do something like Kelly green, like emerald Kelly green, right? Like that. I love this color. You guys know I'm obsessed with it right now. And I hardly ever use the word obsessed, but it's kind of obvious right now. That's what I'm into. Perfect for that era, right? So this is my question. I could go full on like, you know, emerald green silk charmeuse, right? Like that's like that classic cocktail dress, bias cut, silk charmeuse, emerald green. We can see that. I just don't know how often I would get to wear this dress afterward. So here's my question finally. What do you think? Could I find a knit that is classy enough? There are classier knits, right? I could find a knit that's really good. Make this cocktail dress out of this knit and do that. Oh, wonderful, Jackie. Welcome. So that's what I'm thinking, is trying to find something that I can use after, or just making, because I'm thinking about doing a long dress. Cocktail in the 30s was longer, you know, like it wasn't always like knee length, where I feel like that is now. And I was thinking of doing something like the Myrna dress, because that's one of my favorite dresses to wear. And it's got this, like it goes up right here. And I was thinking that's kind of got that like Art Deco kind of structure. A lovely green, I don't know. I feel like I could, but it's not very cocktail vibe-ish. That's what I was thinking, Bloomagilla. I was thinking like maybe I could find some sort of beaded thing to even put right here or put in my hair. I think I'd have to have someone do my hair. I don't know what to do with that. I hardly know how to do my hair anyway. I don't know if that is feasible, but in Paradise, California, to find someone to do my hair for someone else's wedding, it's more effort than I did my own. Oops, I just made that skip right over my fold. All right, here we are at the beginning. You can see this is hanging off the edge. Can you see that? It's like hanging past, right? So we're gonna scrunch a little with our awl, push it toward the needle a little bit. And we're gonna take that little inner thing and really shove it in there. We are not taking no for that. I'm gonna take my awl on the bottom layer and pull it toward me a little bit to help. And we're gonna do the same thing. Let's see, scrunch a little bit more. Scrunch, scrunch. I would rather get it tucked than have it hang out. And now I'm gonna turn, and I'm gonna back up again to the hem to do the back stitch so that it's at the top and I don't have the little threads at the bottom. That worked okay. I'm still getting a little bit hanging out. Yes, exactly, Cassandra. So is she. Huge fan. That's what I was thinking, Libby. Oh, I like that idea. Where's that? Okay, that's right there. I don't want to roll over whatever that was. Cool, this is so cute. Let's put it on my dress form and I'll let you guys go. I'm wondering if I'm gonna like the sleeves. Ugh, ugh. The Ponte, isn't Ponte kind of heavy? Or is it not? Yeah, it kind of has that effect, Julie. I am gonna wear this to death. Exactly. Speaking of murder. I'm so thrilled. I finally have this black blouse again. Black. Black. Blah, blah. I gotta get that neckband to calm down a little bit. Can you see okay? No, no, you can't. All right, let's see. Oh, let me finish putting on a couple more pins. There are lightweight Pontes, okay. Yeah, I was thinking even like, aren't there like I can picture like a rayon crepe knit. And I feel like I'm imagining that. The neckband is a little bit wingy. Oof, I love the back. It looks a little big, but remember, I'm a little bigger than her. I can't find the foot pedal. There we go. It's loose. Look at that hip tilt. Look at that though. The neckband is really wingy. I may have to steam that a little bit and maybe washing it. We did have to like draft the pattern on the fly. The sleeve hangs really nice. Yeah, so I was looking at the Mood site. They have like stretch silk charmeuse, all kinds of stuff. I'm hoping blue. The worst case scenario is I take it off and do it again. I would totally do that for this blouse. I think it will calm down. I'm kind of surprised it is, I'm not gonna lie. Like I didn't stretch that inner edge, but it is a little bit not laying flat right here. Oh, an Upton would be a good, we're gonna have to shop patterns in the guild. I did find like a lot of 30s patterns, and I was like, I don't know if I want to deal with a pattern made in the 30s. I don't have those kind of foundational garments to wear to make it work. I think this blouse is so cool. Uh-oh. I'm gonna go